President Donald Trump has launched a scathing attack on Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky, branding him the greatest salesman on earth for relentlessly securing U.S. financial aid. The remark signals a dramatic shift in Washington's stance, one that could leave Kyiv stranded. Trump has long accused Zelensky of exploiting American generosity. On the campaign trail, he claimed the Ukrainian leader walks away with another $60 billion every time he visits Washington. Now as president, Trump is moving to shut down the cash flow, threatening to upend Ukraine's war strategy.
A whole different ballgame. And Biden is the one that started doing this. Every time Zelensky came here, he walked away with $60 to $100 billion. I think he's one of the greatest salesmen who have ever lived, by the way.
Beyond Ukraine, Trump is taking aim at Europe, demanding that NATO allies shoulder more of the financial and military burden. NATO Secretary General Mark Rutte has responded with an urgent warning, stating that the current 2% GDP target for defense spending is no longer enough to counter Russian cyber threats and espionage.
The NATO countries, they weren't paying. Only 7 out of 28 were paying. We were one of them. And Poland was one. And they had a few of them that were paying, and some were paying very proudly. Usually the closer to the borderline of Russia they were, the faster they paid, okay? The ones that were further away tended not to pay so fast. And one thing on that, I think they should lift their number not to 2%, but to 5%. NATO should be at 5%, not at 2%. 2% is ridiculous.
Even Rutte himself is conceding that Europe has fallen short. Speaking at Davos, he admitted the problem is not with the US. The problem is with Europe.
I'm still very much optimistic. We can handle this, the spending, the industry production, etc. And in Ukraine, we need the US also to stay involved and to do as much as possible to get Ukraine in a position of strength whenever peace talks start. But I can tell the Europeans, if this new Trump administration is willing to keep on supplying Ukraine with defense industrial from its defense industrial base, the bill will be paid by the Europeans. I'm absolutely convinced of this. We have to be willing to do that because at this moment they are more than the Europeans. And here Trump is right. It is a worldwide conflict, yes, but still Ukraine is closer to Europe than to the US.
Trump's hardline rhetoric comes at a moment of crisis. While German Chancellor Olaf Scholz and French President Emmanuel Macron continue to back Zelensky, others, including Hungarian Prime Minister Viktor Orban and Slovakian Prime Minister Robert Fico, are calling for diplomacy over weapons. With Europe divided, NATO's resolve is on shaky ground.
So if there is one country that is interested in peace, it is Hungary. If there is any country that has a vested interest in Donald Trump succeeding in ending the Russian war in Ukraine, it is Hungary. The success of the U.S. administration's peace effort is not an ideological or even a geostrategic, but a vital, everyday economic interest for Hungary. That is why we are hopeful that there will be peace, that the sovereign world policy transformation will take place, and that we will be able to finalize the Hungarian economic agreement with the U.S., which will give a boost to the Hungarian economy.
But Western unity is crumbling. Economic strain and public fatigue are fueling hesitation among key allies. Now, with Trump pulling the plug on U.S. support, European leaders are scrambling to fill the void, raising doubts over NATO's long-term stability. Trump's renewed push for an America First foreign policy marks a seismic shift, one that could leave NATO weakened and Russia emboldened. While his stance resonates with his base, critics warn that cutting off Ukraine could hand Putin his biggest victory yet. As Trump redraws America's role on the world stage, Zelensky faces a make-or-break moment. With Washington recalibrating its priorities, Ukraine and the entire transatlantic alliance are at a tipping point.